Hello everybody and welcome to another PolyWorld development log. Since the last video I've been working on biome generation and tree placement. A biome is an area with similar climate, animals and plants. In PolyWorld there are now 10 prototype biomes ranging from hot desert to savanna through to Arctic tundra. There are several ways to generate them, and I've chosen to combine noise functions for temperature and rainfall to get a measurement for each area in the world and then classify the biome from this. If we take a Perlin noise function and generate a two-dimensional map, we get something like this. And if we generate two maps, a red one for temperature and a blue one for rainfall, and then combine them, we get this. I actually went off down the wrong rabbit hole for a while here and ended up with all kinds of abstract arty looking maps like this one, but eventually realised that if you tune the noise generators a bit, then plot temperature against rainfall for a map, you end up with something like this, where temperature ranges along the bottom from cold to hot, and rainfall ranges upward from dry to wet. When you have temperature extremes, there's very little rainfall, which is as you would expect. And then if you categorise the temperature and rainfall plot into areas, you can assign biomes to each area. So if we combine all of this, then for each point on your world map, you can look up the temperature and rainfall, and then apply the categorisation to work out which biome it belongs to. Colour the map according to biome, and you get this. Then I mapped each biome to a land surface colour, loaded some simple tree models, and decorated the terrain with trees depending on biome. At this point the abrupt transitions between biomes became a bit jarring, so I added some linear interpolation of the land colour, which looks a bit better. By this point the FPS had dropped massively. There can be several hundred trees per chunk, and with many chunks visible it had dropped the FPS under 10. JMonkey Engine stats view showed over 9,000 objects in the scene, and the optimization guide says we need 300 to 400 for good performance. The first thing I tried was imposters, but trying to get alpha blending, fog and the rotations and scales of the imposters to match the real models wasn't working very well. Then I learned about JMonkey Engine's Geometry Batch Factory optimize function and started using that. It merges all the objects under a node into a single geometry object, provided they all have the same material. After a bit of work I was able to reduce the number of objects to around 150 and FPS rose above 500. The downside of this is that any dynamic changes like tree growth are going to mean another optimization or merge cycle, but it appears to only take 10 to 75 milliseconds per chunk, so we could conceivably do this for gradual changes, perhaps on a different thread. In summary then, we now have a number of biomes that are starting to bring some interest to the world. Performance is reasonably good even with lots of trees, which means we can now add more objects to each biome. Next time I will focus on individual biomes a bit more to add appropriate plants, etc. Thank you very much for watching, have a good day and see you next time.